Good morning, everybody. Orin J here with another War of the Visions video, and today's video is a very special one for me because Final Fantasy VIII was my gateway into Final Fantasy. I consider it my gateway into like role-playing games in general. Like, sure, I played The Legend of Zelda when I was a kid on the regular Nintendo, but I sucked at that game because every 9-year-old sucks at The Legend of Zelda. But Final Fantasy VIII was my first like RPG on the PlayStation 1, and then it just opened up this world of gaming to me. It's just special. Like, it's a special game to me, and Squall being the main character from that game, and as a fellow like brown-haired young man when I played this game, who was probably, you know, all teenagers are a bit of an edgelord like Squall. Look, he's special to me, so this is a very special character. I'm pulling him, I'm maxing him, I'm max reincarnating him. I've been saving up just for that moment. I understand he's not the strongest 100 cost character we ever had. And like, if you're typing in the comment section that right now, I know you're not telling anybody anything we didn't know. And will Alaya maybe carry him a little bit? Sure, but I don't think he's nearly as bad as people say he is. And I think once the Trials of Reckoning came out and he got his premium accessory, I think that unlocked him a little bit. His vision card also got a little bit of a buff on global, which we'll talk about, but this is a preview video for Squall. So let's go over him. Let's talk about what our man is. Boom, here he is, looking real good right there, Squall. So first of all, his TMR. This is something that a lot of people are very excited about for him. It's 267 HP, 13 defense, 10 crit rate. Nothing impressive right there on the stat line, but it is a group buff that has haste on it. I believe this is the first TMR we've ever had in this game that is a hasting TMR that will encourage your unit to go group with allies, giving them that defense debuff resistance 100, which is nice, and then also giving themselves haste. Great TMR right here. A lot of people really want this thing, but remember, if your only reason for pulling Squall is for his TMR, I don't think it's that good. So let me, like, I know I'm pulling him, and I'm not trying to turn people off of pulling him in this video, but if the only reason you're pulling for him is the TMR, I wouldn't try to go for a limited 100 cost unit just for a Trustmaster. I'll throw that out there. Then his job, he's Seed, Trick Lancer, Pugilist. We'll talk about those jobs here in a minute. Master ability, he has reaction block rate 20, excellent, AoE resist 10, excellent, AP consumption down is nice, lightning attack up is good, and an upgrade to the swing blade. So dream ability upgrade, I think this is like, I give this like a B, B minus. Master ability, I give it an A. A reaction block rate and AoE resist are both great stats. So that's this page. Let's jump into looking at his kit a little bit here. So Quetzalcoatl's Fury, or as the JP translation goes, Quetzalcoatl's. Yeah, that's a hard word to say, guys. Even the proper translation. Like, imagine you're playing Final Fantasy for the first time, and one of the first summons that you get is Quetzalcoatl, and like, you're like, Ifrit, I mastered that one pretty quick, but Quetzalcoatl, yeah, my 13-year-old self had a hard time with that. Anyway, it's 12 defense, 15 AoE resist, and 40 slash attack penetration. A+, great support ability right here. Squall is somebody who is meant to stack defense, stack AoE resist, find some single target resist, be very hard to kill, draw enemies close to him, and then return damage. He is a bruiser. He reminds me a lot of like an old school Earth unit, kind of what they were supposed to do. You must run this support ability for him to do his job, in my opinion. Then after that, Trick Lancer's tips is really good because it gives you critical hit rate, which Squall needs to crit. More on that in a minute. And 40 defense pin. So here's your slash attack pin, defense pin combo right there. You're at 40 for both with just those two support abilities. You can run more accuracy right here if you want to, or right here if you want to, and you can run Fighting Spirit for like PvE or something like that. But I think for the most part, you're going to run Trick Lancer's tips all the time. Counter moves. You have a 70% counter move, which I really like. It's slash strike and reduces the damage by 40%. Squall is somebody who's going to be very good against the current strike meta. He's got a lot of strike resist. He has this move right here, which even units who have some reaction block rate won't be able to protect themselves against auto guard unless they're totally turning off reaction abilities, because the proc rate on this is very high at 70. So I think you run that most of the time. He does have counter pierce and counter punch, but I think you just run this one and then play Squall into slashing and striking physical teams, which is what he's meant to be played into. Okay, His main job, Energy Wheel. This is his cheat move. It's only 15 AP, 121% damage, and when an enemy is killed, automatically cast a skill. AP recovery for self, restores 10 AP when he performs a critical hit as well. So this is a move meant to keep him with AP. Something his kit does not lack is AP regeneration. He's got a lot of it, so that's a thing right there. We'll look at his limit break later. Then Honeycomb Barrier. Now, WoTV Calc does not translate this skill. I will kind of tell you a little bit about what this does. First of all, it's a self buff, 25 slash resist, 25 strike resist. Excellent. Then the Honeycomb Barrier is this like aura around Squall that is meant that it protects him and his allies for 3 turns. And then the further away someone is, the less damage they do. The AI being what it is, this will suck units to him because the damage reduction is smaller the closer units get to Squall. I will be able to talk about that a lot more once I've got my hands on it and once I'm like playing him myself, but that's essentially how it works. It's a very good skill for manipulating the enemy AI, drawing them in, and then having Squall and whoever like bruiser friends are rolling in there with him pummel the enemy team from up close with like short range striking moves or something like that. Okay, Continuous Sword. Effect not translated here, but it's a damaging move, 2-hit attack, 5 uses, 22 AP. Squall is somebody who will be a good PvE unit. Not only does he have a multi-hit move here, his limit break is a 4-hit move that gives bells. So, I mean, we'll go ahead and talk about his limit break. 200% damage, AP auto restore at the bells level from decent range, 4 hits, really good for PvP and PvE right there. Then he does have a 2-hit move, and crucially, he can equip the piercing, the piercing vision card that gives him a 3-hit piercing move as well. So a lot of usefulness there for Squall in a PvE damaging team. Is he top tier? Is he a must-have? No, probably not, but he is going to be good. He has a buff right here. This is a group buff, defense 20 for 3 turns for allies, slash attack 25 3 turns for allies, protect 3 turns for self, and restores 20 AP. So again, more AP restore for Squall. He's just got that all over his kit. It's a really nice thing. He's not going to hurt for AP. I think overall, the big usefulness for this buff is that it will help him group. He's somebody who wants to kind of like roll in there in a death ball with his friends. This will help him group up with his allies. Then he can follow that up with his self buff Honeycomb buff right there. Okay, so good buff, not the greatest. Then Swing Edge. This is a slash resistance debuff right here that gets upgraded. So let's read the fully upgraded version. It decreases slash resist 38% for targets. Again, good for PvE chaining teams if you don't have somebody else who can do that. 165% damage, knocks their healing power down by 50%, which is really useful, and decreases their defense penetration by 30. Let's talk about that for a minute. Squall is a unit who wants to stack defense. Now, defense is not the most effective stat in the world right now because I feel like every damage unit in the game has defense pin. Being able to decrease the defense pin by 30 almost negates like an entire support move for some units that they're running for the defense penetration. So I do think that's good, and it will help him because he will get more defense if he's using his weapon. We'll look at that here in a minute. So I think this is a great move. It's a diamond-shaped AoE, which I really like. This will be one of his bread and butter attacks for sure. Then Blasting Zone. This dispels protect for the target, increases his defense penetration by 50 just for this use. Now, this is interesting because this is a move to me that opens up Squall's TMR choices a little bit. I'll talk about that more here in a minute. 200% damage, and it's a guaranteed hit move, 100% hit chance. So previously, when I was first reading through Squall's kit, my initial thought was, man, this dude needs about 50 more defense pin. And so an item like Uldoa's TMR felt perfect for me, but I didn't like how it gave AP restore on a unit like Squall who could already generate so much AP for himself anyway, but the 50 defense pin from that seemed really useful. I still think Uldoa's TMR is a useful TMR for Squall, but not necessarily a must-have. If you can get the slash attack pin, this is a slashing move with a little bit of AoE on it that gives him the 50 defense pin just for that move that Uldoa's TMR would give him for all of his moves. So I think that's a very good skill for him to have. Then his new job, sub-job. He has like a warp strike, move to target panel, deals this much damage, decreases their CT while restoring his own CT. Once again, this has usefulness in PvE chaining teams if you need to knock some CT down on an opponent, or for PvP, obviously that's good as well. And then Seed right here, this is a big square-shaped AoE. It is lightning element, but attack type list. So something like slash attack resistance, strike attack resistance, it won't be checked by those. It will, however, be checked by AoE resistance, and I think that is something that keeps this move from being as good as the developers might have intended it to be. And I think this is where I will say, like, this is probably one of the areas where Squall's a little weak. These two moves right here, this one and this one, two of his better moves, I think are so hardcore checked by AoE resist. I think it hurts him a little bit. He does not have that like single target, multi-target move that I would have liked to have seen on a 100 cost unit. So I will ding him there for that. I think that does hold him back a little bit. Now, Trick Lancer sub job. It does give him access to another group buff if you want to go attack critical hit rate instead of his more defense focused one. And then it gives you access to piercing type moves, which again are going to be useful. But yeah, I don't know. I think the biggest thing about his piercing job is it gives him access to the triple trick vision card, or not triple trick, third times the charm vision card for PvE chain teams. But it does also give him a physical barrier break. So you might run this just for that barrier break. Honestly, that would be really nice. Then Pugilist gives him what might be his hardest hitting move with the Surest Strong Arm. It's a small AoE move that has Human Killer 50 on it and is striking damage. Now, we are seeing more strike resistance in the game than we have before, so that's something to watch out for. But if somebody's not running strike resist, he will wreck them with this move if he's got the defense pin to get it off. So there we go, that's his kit breakdown, and we already talked about how good his limit break is. So overall, is Squall worthy of being a 100 cost character? In my opinion, he's like right on that line. I wish he was a 90 cost character instead of 100. I have no problem with him at 90, and I do see why some people are mad that he's 100. I think he's lacking maybe like one more signature move that some 100 cost units have, but he doesn't suck. Anybody who's like, man, Squall sucks, they just want to have some like hot take, easy to say thing. He doesn't suck, and I'm going to prove to y'all he doesn't suck when I max reincarnate him. Or will I? I don't know. We'll see. But I do want to show, let's look at this real quick. He's coming with his vision card. Now, this vision card I got some thoughts about. His vision card is, the group buff on it is single target resist 20, attack 25, strike resistance 20. It is a lightning element card. It gives defense, dex, and attack on the stat line, and it gives attack and acquired AP to the unit. Squall has 10% agility on this as well as a global buff, which is nice, but the problem here is that if we look at the vision cards that exist in the game, more like we look at the vision cards that exist for lighting, I want to point out a card you might already have that JP didn't have. So for JP, they do not have the Dreamiest of Eggs. We do, and this one is single target resist 20, HP 13%, and slash attack resist pin 35. In my opinion, this card seems better for Squall than his own card, which puts his card into like sub-slot category. Now, is it a bad sub-slot card? Absolutely not. It's a great sub-slot card, but you could go ahead and get yourself 30% attack, slash attack pin, HP, and that 20 single target resist, which is a necessary thing to run in his group right here, while giving slash attack pin to your team, which Squall will love every point of that slash attack penetration. So Dreamiest of Eggs in Global makes Squall's card kind of awkward for us, Seed of Destiny. Like, we just have a better version of this, in my opinion, but that strike resist, I don't know. Strike resist is kind of a premium right now, so I think you could just pick and choose. And something to be clear about too, not everybody has the Dreamiest of Eggs. That's a limited vision card. Not everyone has it. So the people overreacting to this card being like, but why would they give us a card with single target resist? We already have one. Maybe you do. But there's a lot of people that have started playing this game after the Dreamiest of Eggs has come and gone. For those people, this is a big deal. 20 single target resist elemental card is very nice. Now, Squall's weapon. The attack version has 172 attack, the accuracy version at 16, critical version at 24. Now, Squall needs to crit if he's going to be using this weapon. If you're running this on him, it gives him initial AP 10, critical hit rate 15, making it a 39 crit weapon, and upon critting, increase defense by 15 when he performs a crit, which means if he is critical hitting every turn, once the fight starts, he just has 15 more defense. If he's turning off defense penetration for the enemy team, if he's stacking his defense up in that like 70 excuse me, 70 to like 90 range, that's really good. That's really good. And defense penetration will wreck that a little bit, but go ahead. If you're going to run this, make sure you're critting. I'm not sure it's worth giving up almost 40 attack to go from 172 to 137, just to get this more crit rate on there, especially since there is 15 crit on here already, but that's what that is. Otherwise, you might look for a slash attack penetration sword for Squall to just, again, further up that slash attack resistance pin for him. And then here's the Ragnarok model. Now, I'll have more to say about this when Trials of Reckoning comes out during the 3rd week of Final Fantasy VIII. But this is an 18 defense accessory. So again, really good stat line there for Squall. And then look at this. Like, let's talk about this. First of all, slash and strike resistance 10. 2 of Squall's specialty stats are slash and strike resistance. Gives you human killer 15 when attacking with physical attacks for self. Increase attack by 30% for self. I mean, we're already at like god tier item after just those two. It also increases magic attack 15 for self. So if you put this on a mage, it'll also do that. Magic debuff resistance 100 for self. Squall doesn't care about those, but let's look at this one right here. For the Final Fantasy VIII units, 200% chance to increase physical damage by 20% and effect not translated. I honestly don't know what this is. I have no idea what this is, but this is a really good item. Look at this, 20% more damage just right there. So this thing completes Squall's build. You need to run this on him. So even though I'm going to be quick building Squall and I'm going to get him worked into like arena teams and Guild Wars teams, please get stars as fast as I can, it's week 3 once you farm a Ragnarok model that he'll really start popping off, in my opinion. Okay, guys, that's my Squall preview. Like I said, if this entices you, if you're a Squall, look, if you're a Squall fan, you're going to pull for him regardless of what I said, sort of like what I'm going to do. If you're somebody that was on the fence about him, might I encourage you to just wait a few days until people like myself and the other Squall players have put out some videos on him, maybe some guides. There's no rush. This is a like month-and-a-half long event. You don't have to pull on the first day. I am. You don't have to. So, patience always pays off in games like this, I think. I think patience just pays off. So that's kind of my advice there. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all have great luck on your pulls tomorrow. Have a great rest of your Tuesday, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.